It's a historic day in Tesla's history. For the first time ever, the full self-driving software package has exceeded into the five-figure pricing department. Elon was not kidding. They actually did it, and I think we're all asking ourselves, how is this possible? How is this sustainable? Especially if for the next few months we're just going to be ironing out that FSD beta that a few select people are testing right now, but will eventually make their way into every other Tesla. Like, what features need to be added for there to be another big price jump? And will there be even more big price jumps just as Tesla rolls out this beta to more and more vehicles? Will it be reverse summon or some kind of final update to auto park, which is kind of a joke right now? I don't know exactly, but Elon did confirm that we should expect the full self-driving subscription next year. Past few earnings calls, he did reference it as something we should expect later in 2020, but now they're saying next year, so it is being pushed off a little bit longer, which in my opinion means there must be a decent number of people still paying for full self-driving, because if no one was buying full self-driving, then they probably would introduce the subscription a lot sooner, because sales of that software package would be flatlining, and yet they keep raising the price. And throughout the year, I kept telling myself, like, okay, at a certain point, they have to raise it to a certain price that eventually just no one is buying it and no one sees it as worth it, and then Tesla won't see the point in raising the price, right? Because then they'll just be like, okay, no one's buying it in the first place, why would we increase the price? But who knows, maybe there's a little bit of genius there, because they realized that, yeah, right after we raised the price, like when they went from 7,000 to 8,000, they likely saw a bunch of people buy it right before the price increase, and then no one buy it as soon as the price did increase. Although, as soon as they did confirm that full self-driving was going to go up to 10,000 last week, then they saw an enormous spike of people buying FSD for 8,000. So, kind of a dangerous snowball effect there. Essentially, Tesla does not see much sales if they don't increase the price, but as soon as they announce that the price is increasing, then they get a surge in sales, which, I don't know how long they can keep that up, but apparently it seems to be working. But the question on everybody's mind for the full self-driving subscription is, where exactly does Tesla price it? And my follow-up question would be, is it month to month? Because it'd be one thing if you could subscribe to it, but you had to be in a contract for like a year or two, and you couldn't break that contract, basically start allowing people to take out loans on full self-driving, or maybe pay it off over time and you could work towards ownership. Not as exciting in my opinion as the monthly model, because if I had a Tesla, I would probably just subscribe to FSD once or twice a month out of the year, just use it when I would be going on road trips and not really use it for day-to-day stuff. That way I would save a whole lot of money compared to buying it outright at $10,000 or more. With the quick turnaround time of the last price increase, at this point it feels like Christmas time. Elon could be like, yep, we're actually going to raise it to $12,000 on December 25th. So chop chop, everybody. May sound crazy, but this is Elon we're talking about here, so it's somewhat possible. Though Elon did say on multiple earnings calls that the price of the FSD subscription would not be financially better than just buying it outright, which I think makes sense for their company. They would much rather people drop $10,000 on their vehicle than they would subscribe monthly to access these software packages. And that's the other reason I'm very interested in the subscription, because right now full self-driving is attached to the vehicle itself, which means that if you got in an accident and it was totaled, you lose FSD. And even when you get a new Tesla, you would have to buy it all over again. Doesn't matter if you picked it up for 6 or 5 grand on your old Tesla, that one's gone now. And so far, Tesla has shown no interest in allowing full self-driving to stay with the account or to stick with an owner so that they could use it across different Teslas over time, or maybe transfer full self-driving from their old Tesla to their new one when they upgrade. They don't want to do that. It would be great if they did it, if you could just buy FSD once and have it for life, but it doesn't sound like that's what Tesla wants to do. But the subscription model would allow you to get it 1 month, and then when you upgrade your car or switch to a different Tesla, you could obviously just subscribe again for that vehicle and unsubscribe from your old vehicle. Problem is though, if you price the full self-driving subscription too low, then you cannibalize people buying it outright. So that's why I have a hard time believing this subscription would be under $100 a month, because if it was, we can do some basic math here, that'd be $1,200 a year, and after 5 years of subscribing to it, you will have spent $6,000, which means you'd still be saving money compared to buying it outright at $10,000. And given they don't want that to happen, I I would say looking at somewhere between $150 a month to $200 a month might make more sense if we look at average car ownership, which with Teslas is a little bit of a different story because they're so new and there's not a lot of data on how long people plan on holding on to their Teslas. But some people definitely, I've seen on YouTube, will buy a Tesla, hold on to it for just a year or two, and then switch to something else. And those people, I think, would love the subscription model, because if they drop $10,000 on a car and then replace it 2 years later, they would have lost a ton of money on that purchase had they have not just subscribed to it. Even if it was $200 a month, that ends up being $2,400 a year, so around $5,000 after 2 years. Yeah, that's half the price. And even if they plan on keeping it for 3, 4, 5 years, the subscription would likely end up being a compelling option for a lot of people. So I know that that sounds like a very, very high price for a software package, but I'm just saying, unless they plan on canceling out the $10,000, buy it outright package entirely, then they're going to have to price that subscription pretty high to make it on par and seem like an alternative to buying it outright, but not necessarily the far cheaper option that everyone should go with. Even though I think that if it is monthly, you probably should go with it, unless you're the type of person that buys a Tesla and expects to be driving it for maybe 10, 20 years. Then in that case, sure, buying full self-driving outright would probably be a better idea. Also, subscribing to it on a monthly basis would not move you anywhere near towards ownership. So that would mean even if you paid $200 a month for FSD for 5 years, you will have spent over $10,000 on it and you still don't own it outright. So you're going to have to keep paying monthly for it to enjoy its perks. And very likely the price of the FSD subscription will continue to increase. Whereas if you buy full self-driving outright, you get it once and you're done. So you have a fixed payment for it. Whereas if level 4 autonomy gets improved, if they roll out more features and they decide, hey, you know what, full self-driving is worth more now, then if you're paying $200 a month, maybe Tesla will wake up and decide now you're going to start paying $250 a month. So this is an expensive software package. If anything, I think it's one of the most expensive software packages that consumers have access to. It's not a commercial licensing thing that a business buys from another business. No, this is just a direct-to-consumer software sale that is north of 5 figures, which is insane to think about, but that subscription price will definitely make the conversation more interesting. I'm excited to hear Tesla talk about that, and I'm really encouraging all of you to expect it to be close to $200 a month, because I'm sure Tesla would much rather you buy it outright, so they're not going to make a subscription that's substantially cheaper at like sub $100 a month, because then everybody's just going to keep doing that. But a few other ideas I would love to see Tesla pursue is kind of permanently bringing back enhanced autopilot. They did this at the end of Q3 for kind of a, last minute earnings push, and I thought it was really cool for them to bring it back. It appears that it's not there anymore, but in case you weren't aware, enhanced autopilot would allow you to appreciate all the features that are currently available with FSD for about half the price. They were charging $4,000 for it back when FSD was $8,000, and it would give you navigate on autopilot, so automatic lane changing. It would give you smart summon and auto park and that kind of thing. So you don't get the promise of level 5 autonomy in the future. You don't get robo-taxi access if you believe in that kind of thing, and you likely wouldn't get that FSD beta that people are seeing right now that's doing city street turning and having the car complete almost entire trips on its own. You wouldn't get quite that, but for $4,000, you wouldn't have to be paying for a promise anymore. I thought it was awesome that they brought that back, and I hope that eventually, maybe as they see not that many people buying FSD at 5 figures, they could divvy it up a little bit and make it more enticing. In fact, I would push them to go further and just let you buy individual software features for $1,000 or $2,000. I don't see much of a consequence in someone saying, I cannot spend $8,000 to $10,000 on full self-driving, but I like navigate on autopilot. I want the automatic lane changing, so I'll drop $1,000 or $2,000 on just that feature. I don't need the whole robo-taxi access and the promise of level 5 autonomy someday. No, I just want to pass slow people on the freeway autonomously. Or maybe you live in a place where it rains a lot and you really like the idea of the car coming to pick you up at the front of your location when you're done shopping or doing whatever it is you're doing. Maybe you just want smart summon, so let someone spend $1,000 to $2,000 on just that feature. And of course, it's just a software flip for Tesla. It doesn't cost them anything, but you could probably expand your software packages a lot further than where they are right now, because the way I see it, autopilot's included, and if you want anything better than that, you gotta spend 5 figures or some insane amount. So I think that closes the door on a lot of potential software revenue. So if they maybe divvied it up a little bit and said, hey, maybe you just want turning on city streets, but you don't need smart summon or automatic lane changing or auto auto park or any of those kinds of things. Just buy what you want, and Tesla can profit off of it. The consumer can get exactly what they need and not have to pay for things that they don't appreciate that much. But who knows, maybe that would allow people to get away with not spending their money on FSD. But I'm curious what you guys think. How do you think full self-driving should become more affordable, aside from the obvious troll answer of, we'll just make it cheaper? Yeah, that would be nice. I would love it if they did that, but I don't think it's gonna happen. So assuming FSD stays the price that it is right now, what would you price the subscription at, and would you let people buy individual features? Feel free to let me know. Thank you all for watching. Have an excellent rest of your day. Take care.